piece of shit.
A few moments later.
Hey team, and welcome back to this week's episode. And it is finally, the time has come. We're going to put the camper box on the Unimog. We started already with the first piece of flooring, as you can see here. There behind me is the second one. We glued one on yesterday already just to have a bit of a test try. And yeah, it turned out actually quite well. For that box build, I obviously thought about that month ago already, and I ordered all the material for it. I ordered all the panels. I got all the material. It's all the aluminium is there on the ground. If you can see that, somewhere over there. Yeah, so I already thought about it a lot. And obviously I'm trying to build that all that thing also a little bit on the budget. I got all the panels pressed up and glued up, kind of custom made to my specifications I wanted. So I think the standard panels are like 30 mil, and that wasn't enough for me. So I wanted to have a minimum of 40 mil thick panels. I went to Transform RV and I had a chat with Isa and Vince, and they said, yeah, no worries, there's not a problem. We can make you the panels like however you want them. And that's what we came up with. I'll show you the panels real quick. So they're already stored here on the side. So these are 40 mil XPS foam in the middle, and then they have like two layers, like an inside and outside layer of fiberglass. So they have a very good insulation value, and there's still that foil on top of it. But oh yeah, hopefully we're gonna get that up. Gonna get that off easy. And that is the floor over here. I'm gonna quickly show that as well. So that is also a composite material again. There's like a foam on the inside that is a bit harder than XPS, and it has carbon fiber on the top and carbon fiber on the bottom. That means it doesn't take on any water. It doesn't rot away. It's fully waterproof, so you don't need anything. You don't need to do anything from underneath to protect it. So that's how it looks from underneath. It's just black, which is beautiful. There's a little glue coming out of it. It's not too bad. It's just I put a bit more glue where the joint is, so that will all be sealed together. So yeah, that piece behind me is already the next piece for the floor, and that is already cut up. We're just about to put that on, and then with that build also I wanted to show you a bit of a different way. Obviously Transform RV, these guys are legends. They would also like cut them exactly to size and cut the panels, cut all your windows in it, and pretty much like a prefab house. You just have to glue it together. So they all rebate all the walls in and the roof and all that kind of stuff. So, and I wanted to save a bit of money. That's why I got the panels just pressed up, and I picked it up with the truck a few months ago. And I have pretty much all the machinery to do that all by myself. So I didn't know where to put the windows, for example. I didn't know where to put a door, like 100%, you know. These are things, if they're cut it, you have to know beforehand. So, and that was a bit tricky for me because I wasn't 100% sure with the layout, what I'm gonna do. So that's why I'm doing it myself. So I have a bit more flexibility in case of where to cut the windows and where to put everything. And so, because as soon as that hole is cut, it is cut. You can't fix it up anymore. So that's why we're gonna do that all by myself. Well, we're gonna do that all by ourselves, and hopefully that all works out. But it should be. So now that part, the box build is kind of so that I am in my element, because that is what I do. I'm a cabinet maker, builder, carpenter. I've been building houses for living and also doing carpentry and doing furniture making. So that means that should be very, very simple for me. Yeah, let's go. I'm going to show you how to glue that on here. Also with the aluminum extrusions, there were a bit size problems and we have to modify a few things, but I'm going to show you and I'm going to explain a bit more later down the track. I think that glue definitely needs 24 hours to dry. Did that here last night and it is still very, very gooey. So I think it just needs time. But that glue apparently, as soon as it's like when it is dry, yeah, you can't take it off anymore. So that is, it's stuck on then and it will stay on. The material should break before the glue, so that is what we want. I forgot my standing knife at work. There you go. It is kind of dry, but it's still very gooey and can form a ball out of it now. I'm just gonna clean the dust of these and then yeah, put glue on, put the next one on, claims on it, and then that's it pretty much what we're doing on the truck today. And then I wanted to take the sheets out and I want to cut all the rebates in it and measure everything out, work everything out. So that is the plan for today. Cut some aluminium as well. So, and hopefully everything worked out, or everything works out what I've already thought about fucking 2 months ago. I just wanted to quick say to that floor here, these Transform RVs applied these to me, and they actually come in, I think, 8 meters lengths or something. So why are we having a cut here then? The problem is that floor comes in 8-meter long sheets, but I think they're only 2.3 meter wide. So, and I wanted my floor to go from corner to corner of the tray. So, and that is 240 obviously. So we had 10 centimeter missing. So, and I don't want to add another strip there. I'd rather have a joint in the middle, so where I can join them perfectly on one of these beams here I welded in. And also I don't want to leave a gap, or like some people like put then the wall on there and stuff, but there's still a centimeter missing, like 10 mil missing. So how are you going to fill that up? Leave that an open gap? Most of the people leave that an open gap, but that is a thermal bridging for me. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have that fully insulated. I don't want any thermal bridges inside the floor or the walls or whatever. So I'm trying to avoid that as good as I can. and we're going to put heaps of glue in that one here so that they're glued together and they're all waterproof. So yeah, that's why I decided to have a cut in the middle of that floor. And yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, or it shouldn't be a problem at all. Let's clean that up, and then we put that sheet on. Now the tip is, like, when you do that with that glue, that supply, if you don't have a gun like that, I think you have to have muscles like that. It is because that glue is so stiff. It is, even that one is already on setting 5, so it needs a lot of power to push that out. To use a handgun with these, it's like, wow, that is going to be a big job. As I said before, I'm gonna go and cut all the panels to finished measurements myself. That was just like a little bit of an insurance thing, because I wanted to fix myself onto some measurements I decided like 3-4 months ago. So I ordered them a little bit oversized, not much, but so I can cut them all the way I want to. The way that these are getting connected is I will cut a rebate into these. Usually they router that in on the CNC, so that means I'm going to cut like the wall thickness into here, but I'll leave the outer shell. You see the 2mm here, I'll leave that standing. So, and then I just cut that out, and then the side wall goes into here, so then sits down to that point. So then the aluminium angle goes later on over both of these and have the same amount of like glue surface than on the other side. So what we're doing now is I just measured, that is the front wall which goes straight behind the cab. So, and we have a total interior height. I want a total interior height of 2.10 m. So that means I'm going to cut that now to 40. So because I'm going to rebate the roof panel in so that the roof is laying on top of that. That gives me a bit more stability, and yeah, I think that makes my life a bit easier. Also, like 2.10 m, I think there's a nice internal height of the truck. So I think a lot of people have only like 2 meters or even lower than that. I'm not sure. I'm 6'1", so yeah, I just want to have a bit more room, I guess. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to cut that now and then rebate it all in. Nice, that works well. Fuck yeah. So now the camera is full of dust. There you go. So that's the first rebate, And that goes in here now. Or like, not that, but that is the thought behind it. Yeah. So then you can glue it fully. Like, if you like 2 surfaces where you can glue it, and then the aluminium extrusion goes like, that's like an L bracket, goes onto here then later on. So and then you have a very strong connection, and obviously an aluminium on the inside as well. That's what I'm gonna do as well. So double strong, and fuck, that stuff is really strong. They have like, in that foam there's like little cutouts in it where the resin kind of goes into the foam, and they're very hard to separate, and that stuff is, fuck, that is really strong. You reckon I could walk over that? Probably not. Not over that. Ah. Oh. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, it does help me. So, but fucking cool stuff. And it's like, yeah, it's super strong, super lightweight. So there's just like, I think I calculated it, and I think the box is 300 kilos in total, all up with all the aluminium and everything. Because these ones here, they weigh nothing. It's just air. But very solid, really cool product. So yeah, let's go. Next one. So that's the first panel done. Front wall done, so the sight goes in there, the roof goes in there. Easy. That was very easy. A little bit easier than I expected, I would say. But yeah, you need to definitely have a vacuum. Otherwise you're gonna end up all itchy. I mean, you're gonna end up itchy anyway, but that stuff is probably not the best to breathe in, so a vacuum is definitely necessary. Theory, that could work. A little bit flimsy. I wanted to buy 140s, but they didn't have any. So I trying to figure out what are we doing with the departure angle on the back. So that is the length of the tray. That is 4060 millimeters. So, and our maximum overhang from the Unimog is 2310 millimeters. And that is measured from the middle of the rear axle. So I marked that up here. I got the level layout. I marked that up here. So, and from here, 2310. That gives us from the tray a max overhang of 760 something ish, I think. 760. So I don't want to go that far, so I want to have a little bit buffer. I want to go to 700 overhang in total. So the box will end here. So that is that one here. Yeah, that is that line. So I'm just trying to figure out how is that gonna work with the bed and everything. Obviously, that is not your interior height. That is the outside to the outside. So you go 440 million from here. It's here. Because the wall thickness is 40 mil. So that gives us an internal of 65. When we go straight up here, measure that to the angle, 64. I think that's pretty good, to be honest. These are all these things you have to think about now, because you know, where are you going to put your bed, where are you going to put your seating area, how is that going to look like later when it's inside. All these things you have to keep in mind. We probably don't have to have 45 degrees, so you could probably do a bit lower, like 30 degrees, but I'm not sure if that would look good, because it looks quite good. Yeah, I think 45 looks pretty good. And it also makes it a bit easier because I have a 45 angle. I mean, I can calculate it, which is not a problem, but I think 45 is quite nice. What do you think? Sorry, Carl. Not my sawhorse, so don't fucking worry about it. Yeah, now we got the angle. So now we can have a look. So the door is pretty much the only thing we bought. I bought that like a few months ago, so that we can get in and out the box, because otherwise, yeah, you can glue it together, but you can't get it. So that's the only thing we need to put the box up. So, and then I wanted to start with the interior fit out, and wanted to put some walls up and some cabinetry and the bed and all that kind of stuff. And then I want to put the windows in. So then I know exactly how big I can make the windows, then I know exactly where to put them, where can I put the window in the bathroom, and all these kind of things I don't have to think about prior. So that's why I just bought that one. Now that is already big enough of a challenge to find a place, or like find the exact measurement where to put that door, because as soon as that hole is cut, it's cut, and then there's no turning back on that. Yeah, we bought a new ball for Jack. That was brand new this morning, so he absolutely loves it. New merch, not for me, good friend of mine. Alrighty, let's unpack that bad boy and then have a look. Maybe there's some descriptions with it or something. That looks good. And then we see what kind of hole we have to cut into it for it. What do we got here? Never travel unless the door is fully locked by key. Okay, never do that. Otherwise it's gonna open it up. about to cut that door out, and it gives me anxiety because as soon as you do something wrong, it's kaput. It's not fixable, and it's going to be, I mean, it's fixable, everything's fixable. Just here again, not that we spend enough money already. I measured it 3 times. Let's only have to cut it once. Alright, let's get out with the jigsaw. I absolutely hate that tool. In my opinion, it's only made to cut kitchen sinks out of a bench top. There's no use for that machine. I fucking hate it. Alright, fingers crossed the door fits. Alright, so door cut out, done. I had a chat with a good friend of mine, and he suggested, or he has a truck as well, and his door is like nearly flush on the floor, like with the flooring. So that's what I was thinking before. I was thinking leaving 5 centimeter here, so to give the thing a bit more structure. But in theory, it doesn't really need it. So yes, of course, I cut a huge hole in here, and now it's definitely a bit more flimsy. But we're gonna put some timbers on here temporarily and clamp them onto that, so to keep it from moving inwards when we lift it up with the forklift and stuff. I think it's gonna make it later easier when the door is in and you have like a nearly flush finish to the floor, so that is the interior of the door, so that is gonna be very close to be flush to the floor. You have like a 15 mil or something. I still haven't decided what kind of flooring I'm gonna get. If I get some carpentry, then that is plenty to put some carpentry under, and we're probably gonna get it perfectly flush. So that door is now made so it sits straight away onto that floor what is on the tray right now. So, and it should fit in. So I would like to test it, but we can't. Yes, we can. We could actually test it, but because that is the inside, but we can put it the wrong way around, and yeah. So then we can show you how it looks, I guess, or if it fits. Let's do that real quick. That door, for that is made from aluminium, it is quite heavy actually. And yes, I think I need your help for now. And no scratches. Alright, that's the door. Plenty. Oh, there you go. That's better. Yep. Alrighty, so we're finally at that stage where we're going to put the box together. So that means last week already I cut all the panels out. So we got them from Transform RV, and you know, they didn't come pre-cut because I didn't order them that way. So I wanted to cut it all myself, so have a bit more flexibility of you know, see like the measurements later on with the truck. You know, I pretty much ordered everything like 3 months ago. So yeah, that gave me a bit more flexibility where I put windows and all that stuff. They also pre-cut them for you if you like. So, and if you have all your measurements, they're gonna put it on the CNC and they're gonna be tip-top Mickey Mouse. I cut all these rebates in it so that the roof later sits into here. Obviously I did the same with the other one, and the front and the back wall are inside the container. So, and this weekend was actually the plan to put the box on, but the weather is pretty crappy, so everything is wet. So let's see if it dries out today a little bit, and then we maybe like late this afternoon we can put the front panel on and maybe the 2 side panels. That would be great. Yeah, and my plan for that was I bought some aluminium L brackets. So, and but they only come in, they didn't come in the right measurements I wanted. So they're 60 by 60 usually. So, and I cut them myself to size. So I wanted to put that on here now. So with the L shape on the inside, so that the panel, do you have an offcut of that? I did, here. That is the inside of the truck, yeah. So, and the panel is gonna sit like that in there. So that is the plan for that. So I first of all don't have that L bracket then in the inside on the floor, because I didn't want to have that on the floor. You can also turn it the other way. But now I also wanted to bolt that straight through. Like I bought some bolts where we can go through the aluminium, through the floor and through the tray, and bolt that mechanically to the ground. So you also just can glue it, but I wanted to have that bit of extra insurance and go actually with some screws. So yeah, that is actually the plan for today. So we're gonna put these brackets on and make sure that it's like sort of dry. It's pretty good already. It's not too bad. The wind helps as long as it's not raining again. And then yeah, hopefully we can maybe get 2 side walls, like the front wall and the 2 side walls up. We got Aaron here today again for the forklift drive-in, because yeah, we can't lift these panels. They're pretty heavy. They're not heavy, but they're very awkward, and they're pretty catchy with the wind. So yeah, that's the plan for now so far. And yeah, you can, like with the aluminium, because they didn't come in the right size, I just cut them with you can cut aluminium with all the wood tools you have pretty much. Like it doesn't matter, with your circular saw you can cut it. Very soft metal. So yeah, we did these 2 already, so that is probably enough for the floor. And now we're gonna bolt these on. I'll cut them to 2 lengths and then bolt them on, and then we go from there. We're gonna get the drop saw out. So, and then we're gonna do that now and have another beer. Let's do it. I don't want you to grab these ends.
Sure.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I want you to fuck off. Nope. That's my baby. I love that saw. Fucking very important. I fucking hate cutting aluminium because it is so loud. So I always try to use ear protection and usually eye protection. We do have it. Come on, let's use it. Yep. That's it. That's the first one. That goes here. Should be 4 centimeters smaller than all the rest. So like that, it's gonna sit like that, and that wall is gonna sit in here, like that. And we're gonna bolt that to the ground. So we notch out that side. Now, let it go. Yeah, freestyle that one here.
From the side on, I think it's pretty good.
Oh, that is so good. So we're gonna chop that a bit further because that wall is gonna go to there. Pretty good. Yeah, first step, that's pretty good. Is that the right idea to pack it at? Yeah, it is, because there's like the seat later, you're not gonna see it. These trays are never 100% straight anyway, so that's fine.
You hit it in the bush.
Yeah. Oh, it's probably when I had the patrol on it.
Straight as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And in the middle of the fucking aluminium, yeah?
I'm doing it on your X, yeah?
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't count on the X's too much. Just do it in the middle, yeah? Pretty good drill, huh?
Yeah.
What I've been doing is I use zinc bolts or zinc coated bolts because zinc is very close in the list of metals. It's very close to aluminium. I think it's only like 1 below, or like 2 below or something. So that means there's very little corrosion going on with zinc and aluminium. Like I could also use stainless steel, but there's still the chance if there's moisture or something going in that they like corrode and react with each other. So that's why we use zinc on that thing. So, what do you mean?
Might have to just tap it down.
Yeah, you get a hammer. And that works very well. And we use these heads because the theory is that they're gonna push into that later. So, and you just have a little dint, and that's all it is. It sits inside the insulation. That is a thermal bridging now because that is a bolt what goes through the outside. So, and we want to try to avoid thermal bridges because that bolt is going to be cold or hot from the outside, and that means there is going to be, if that would be now on the inside, for example, there would start condensation and mold. So, but when it sits inside this insulation, you're not going to have a thermal breach. So that's why I went for that scenario here. So most of the people turn these brackets or these angles the other way around so that they're going from the inside. But yeah, I did it like that so that we have no thermal breach. That's the thought behind that. So that's the first one done. That's fucking great. You know what we didn't do? We didn't line that up with that properly. So we have to undo that again and push it a bit that way. And then we also didn't put any glue underneath it. So
It's alright, that's a test bolt.
it's just a test bolt, yes? I mean, it wasn't the final thing, yeah?
Back out.
Yeah. And that's a wrap for part one, guys. Thank you for tuning in. As you can see, it is a lot of prep work to do before we even get to start building the box. Definitely stay tuned for part two. It's coming very soon, and if you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing and liking that video. That will really help us out, and see you in part two.
Alright, no worries.